All right. Hello, wine-drinking people. It's Tuesday, March 16th. And we had a busy weekend this weekend, and I'm going to start with a little bit about Brown Bag. We had two stellar wines at Brown Bag, which was a real short group on Saturday, which we like. The 1998 Grange, bought by Lou Roderick. Lou, thank you very much. That was killer. And the 2004 Peter Michael Le Pivot, brought by Al Zielinski. Thank you, guys. Great stuff this Saturday to start the day out. I had a private tasting on Saturday night, and whenever I'm given the task of putting together a tasting and money is not the object, this is a not-to-be-missed opportunity. And the theme was wines of Angelo Gaia. So we started with the 2007 Gaia Chardonnay. This wine could easily be mistaken for a Grand Cru Burgundy. I've seen it happen several times here at Brown Bag. 2007 is a legendary vintage in the Piedmont. This wine was rocking. And then we went on to the Barbaresco table, which we had all three single vineyard wines represented. We started out with the 2005 vintage Barbaresco, which is a blend of 5 different Barbaresco vineyards. 2005 will go down as one of the greatest vintages in the history of the Piedmont. And the 2005 Costa Russi, quite a bit bigger in size, lots of lovely floral tones to this wine. The 2005's got a ton of tannin right now. They definitely are showing very young, but showing some great potential as well. Then we went on to show the 2000 vintage of Costa Russi. This was our host's favorite wine, so we showed an older vintage of this wine. 2000 rated 100 points from the Wine Spectator. This wine is a little bit closed down on the fruit right now. It's showing more on the earthy side, the black truffle, black tar, dried flowers, earth, and just really big and intense. This wine, even though the 2000 vintage was considered to be maybe a little bit light by some people and not age-worthy, I think this wine is just going through a weird stage right now, and the fruit's going to come back in this wine. It's got at least 30 to 50 more years of cellar potential ahead of it, the 2000 Costa Russi. We also showed the other two wines that Gaia produces in Barbaresco. They're no longer called Barbarescos. As of 1996, a guy admitted that he was putting a little Barbera into the blend, which it's illegal to put anything in your Nebbiolo, but Nebbiolo for Barbera and Borolo. So as of 1996, he just named these wines with their single vineyard name. We showed the Sori Tilden next, 1999 vintage. Sori is a south-facing hillside. Tilden was Gaia's grandmother's nickname, and all of Gaia's wines have got a story behind them. Gaia is the consummate storyteller. If you went to a Gaian event and Angelo was actually there, he does not sit down the whole entire time. He'll even tell the chef, please do not be offended if I don't eat your food, but I'm here to tell the people about my wines, and he does, very passionately. The 99 Sori Tilden, a great vintage, just now starting to shed some of its tannins. This wine definitely needs a little more time, but was showing brilliantly. And then the blockbuster of the three, the Sori San Lorenzo, named after the patron saint of Alba. We had the 1998 vintage of this wine. 98, still young, but again, starting to show nice, starting to shed some of those tannins, show some of that lovely ripe red cherry fruit, and some of that exotic perfume and spice that is Barbaresco. So then on to the Borolo table. We did have all three of Gaia's Barolos represented this evening. Also the 2003 de Gramas, again named after the family that used to own this vineyard. 2003, a very hot vintage. This wine was showing very nice, lower tannins, lower on the acid level, and really drinking quite nice right now. Then we went on to the 2000 Contessa. Contessa refers to the quarrel that exists between the town of La Mora and Alba. 2000, again, kind of a controversial vintage, one that a lot of people don't think is going to age for a long time, but this Contessa still had brilliant structure. And then the Spears 2000, a little comparison between the 2000 Contessa and Spears. And then the Lucky Tasters had a vintage experience, the 1994 Borolo Spears. This was when this wine was still called Borolo, and this wine was drinking at its peak. Not a great vintage, but this is the sign of a great producer when you can pull out a vintage like a 94 and have it still show brilliantly. Again, the fruit kind of dying in this wine, but I had a lot of those lovely earth tones, the truffles and fresh earth. Then we had a couple of wines from Gaia's new estate in Bulgaria, in the Maremma. We had the 2007 Promis, which has got a little bit of Syrah in it, Merlot, and then Sangiovese. The Syrah tends to bring the fruit forward, make this wine very drinkable, even though it's very young. And then we had a little bit of the Camarcanda Magari, which the Magari has a Bordeaux-style blend, but with Cabernet Franc in it, 25%. And that wine has got great structure from the 2006 vintage. This is a wine that's going to last in your cellar for years. Go ahead and grab as much 2006 Tuscan wine as you can. it is going to go down as one of the greatest vintages in the last 100 years from Tuscany. Then I was manning the Brunello table, and we had Gaia's top property in Brunello. When he moved to Brunello in the 90s, he decided he was going to buy one of the greatest vineyards in all of the area, and he was looking at the southwest region of Montalcino, and he decided on the Soldera estate. Oops, sorry, Angelo. Gianfranco Soldera didn't want to sell. So he had to buy the next best thing, the Pieve di Santa Restituta property, which was next door. And we were showing the 95 vintage, the very first vintage. The guy had complete control over this estate. The 95 vintage is just singing right now. I love 95 Tuscans, especially the better wines. They may still have 10, 20 more years to go, as Parker indicates in his review on this wine. But still, this is a classic vintage, starting to show really nicely. The 95 Sugarhill was a blockbuster. My vote for wine of the night this evening. And we had the 2001 Sugarhill and then the 2004 Sugarhill as well, the current release. 2004 still showing in its baby fat phase, really drinking nice for a young wine. The 2001 was not really expressive, a wine that I think if you have, you should hold on to for a little longer. Whew. Man, that was a big night on Saturday. Sunday, I had a much-needed break. I took the family out to the Renaissance Festival out at Quiet Waters Park. That was fun. We didn't have any wine out there, as you can imagine. There was some Beringer White Zinfandel, but the beer was flowing. And a little sword fighting, a lot of fun. Sunday evening, we did have some wine with dinner. A pair of 2002 Burgundies. The 2002 Michel Gonneau Merceau Perriers, really starting to show nice, this vintage. Got lovely tropical fruit. I love Merceau because of its richness, a little bit of marzipan, some lovely granite-like minerality to this wine. Just beautiful. I do have a few bottles of this wine left in the store. It's listing at $85. And then we had the 2002 Colin Delaget Chassagne Montrachet Old Vines, red. Most people associate Chassagne with white, but this red also singing, drinking very nice, and a little bit of black tar kind of minerality to it, black spice, raspberry fruit, really the tannin smooth, acidity still fresh, really showing beautifully. That was my last bottle. Occasionally I take those home just for experimental purposes. No more of that to sell. It was delicious. Monday in the store, we had a busy day Monday, but not much in terms of drinking. We only had Michael and Mary Calhoun, the owners of Landmark Vineyards, in the store yesterday, showing off their 2007s. This wine was kind of out of sight, out of mind. They're with the new distributor now, Stakehold. 2007 is an excellent vintage for California Chardonnay. These wines have been consistently excellent since their inception. The same winemaker, and the 2007 Overlook, just a beautiful wine, lots of juicy fruits, just the right amount of oak, a little bit of that vanilla, kind of creme brulee note to it, typical California, lush, fruity, delicious Chardonnay. And the 07 vintage has got quite a bit of backbone. The acidity in this wine very apparent on the finish, holding everything together nicely. Then the Demarest Chardonnay, that times two, much richer, oakier, but had more fruit and everything else, also really delicious. Then we had the Grand Detour Pinot Noir. All these wines, their names are relevant to the Deere family. This is where their first tractor was built in John Deere, or where he invented the steel plow, rather. Sorry. But they all have something to do with their legacy in that industry. And the Grand Detour Pinot 07, very fresh, but a lovely bouquet of flowers. One of the things that Pinots at Landmark have always had to me is this wonderful California Pinot, juicy, fruity, floral, but still fresh on the end again, even though these wines are kind of high in alcohol as well. The Steel Plow Syrah, kind of cross between California and Northern Rhone, a lot of black pepper spice, a lot of toasty oak, just really big, but at the same time balanced and fresh on the finish. Really long finish on this Syrah. Great little wine. What am I drinking this week? Well, we've got just one event this week. I've got a private tasting. I actually have a couple events, but just one that's open to the public. The Chateau Pichon Comtesse de Lalande dinner, going back to 1940. We've got 15 vintages of this wine, and we have about 6 seats left for this dinner. Today, what am I trying to sell you? We've got kind of a little hiatus in the events, so I'm putting out a kind of a pre-notice about an event that's happening in a month from today, the Borgogno tasting. So check it out. I'm Andrew Lampasone, your host, signing off for WineWatch TV. Thanks for watching, and remember, always drink the good stuff first.